Welcome, Itziar Canamasas. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. This is our first Loop Leadership Series, and we're very happy to start off with you. So again, welcome, and please, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you are and what you do.
So my name is Itziar Canamasas, and I'm the Managing Director of Bayer in Ireland.
Thank you. We start our way with the first question, and that is, I know that you're a very strong believer of self-organizations. So if you could just tell us a bit about how you have enabled that to happen and what are the benefits that you have seen by doing it.
Thanks so much, Aristo. Well, there's a lot of change around us, and for organizations to succeed, they need to be adaptive and quick at developing customer-centric solutions. When we looked at how to best execute that, it became very clear to us that having a self-organized and empowered organization was the way to go. Regarding your question as to how we have enabled that to happen, let me say that the first step starts with the leadership team. We needed to work on strengthening our bonds, undertaking a journey of self-exploration and collaboration. Then we divided the organizational transformation in 3 parts. The first one with interventions focused on the self and the team. The second one focused on identifying and implementing a framework that would create the right environment. And the third one, where we would be focused on advancing our level of mastery and experimentation. 1.5 years later, we have the entire commercial organization on board, established in circles and operating in an empowered way. This way of working has enabled us to rapidly adapt to the COVID environment and find solutions to any challenge ahead of us, including the one that brought our companies together.
Thank you. And you already touched upon that, but when it comes to the benefits of having a purpose-driven organization, so what is really the value that the organization is getting out of this?
Well, first of all, I'm very lucky to work for a company that serves our most basic human needs, health and food. And we employees are guided by our purpose, which is science for a better life. We're striving to prevent and cure disease, improving everyday health, and helping feed a growing population. And we have a very strong vision too. It's health for all and hunger for none. And it really lays the foundation of everything that we do. Your question is more about the benefits of having a purpose-driven culture. Purpose really is very important because in any context, it helps clarify, it simplifies, and it energizes. And we really live in a world where at work, we're interrupted every 3 minutes. It takes a long time to get back on task. Then we're typically on task for about 7 minutes before we switch to something else. We check our phones 150 times a day. So all of it really leading to higher levels of stress. And actually, if you look at literature, it's about 65% of us that say that this is really an important or an urgent problem. So defining a purpose will help clarify where we spend our time. It helps simplify as it gives focus. And it's energizing because knowing your purpose, knowing your why, can make what you do much more meaningful. And then as businesses, it really makes sense because purpose drives performance. And there's a business case to purpose-led companies. Employees are about 63% more engaged. 89% of customers want purpose-driven vans. And IDEO published that the average annual return on equity of purpose-led companies is 3 times the average S&P rate. Within our organization, we work with purpose at multiple levels. I mentioned to you at the beginning the enterprise purpose, but then also within Bayer Ireland, we work with self-purpose as well as team purpose. And as I said before, all of them provide focus and clarity at each of the levels that they represent.
Thank you. So the values are pretty clear, and why this is important to your organization and should be important to any organization. And then I'm thinking, so how do you actually create this kind of culture? I mean, it's easy on paper, but it's very, very difficult to achieve really this kind of mindset, and also to really make make the organization work in that way. And also, obviously, the culture is crucial to the success. So how do you do that?
Well, that's a really important question, and I don't think there's one answer for all, right? What we've learned is that you need to touch 3 different levels of the organization. You're going to touch the level of the self, you're going to touch the level of the team, and you're going to touch the level of the organization, but with culture is included. And one of the really important aspects of adaptive and agile organizations is having employees with the will of coming to work each and every day and be the best they can be, right? In this environment of constant change, we really recognize the value that building a strong learning culture will really have in order to achieve success for us as an agile organization. And we have made multiple interventions in order to support that behavioral change. First of all, culture is not from the leadership team. We have culture that is being worked on by each and every employee in the organization. We have established what we call culture committees that are basically working on a specific aspects of the culture that are relevant for us, that we want to maintain or we want to become better at. And we have a sponsor in each of the committees by someone from the leadership team. But basically, it's up to those committees to really engage in activities that really help us strengthen the culture of the organization. If it is from our CSR activities to our health and well-being, to also our development approach as an organization as well, that it's being worked on those committees. In addition, we have made other interventions that really help foster that self-learning behavior. At first, we provided employees with about 2 hours a week for self-growth initiatives. We then realized that just by giving them 2 hours, it's not enough. We need to foster and do other interventions to help that. So we established a Learning for Growth initiative that really aimed to foster a productive learning culture with a shared ownership with the employee and also high learning impact. And then also we have established a Learning for Growth Teams channel where employees can exchange experiences and learnings that they think could be beneficial for others. And most recently, we've also undertaken an initiative to map the digital skills from our employees and match the emerging resource needs to the skill set available. And we look for a digital enabler to accommodate these needs, and we found that digital enabler in Loop.
How do you reach out to the employees, to the people, and make sure that they feel that that the organization is behind? Because of course, obviously, you do it in a way by actually having these activities. But is there anything else you do on top of that to kind of make sure that the employees know about these activities and can engage in these activities? Something that you see will grow through the organization because it's good for the organization, or is it something that you promote in different channels and in different ways?
Mm-hmm. So again, here I would say multiple channels and multiple interventions is always the key to success. And most importantly, it's not the leadership team creating or generating those channels, but co-creating with the employees or even having the employees lead it, that I believe it's the future, right? In the context of maybe how to help employees move towards that. It is really important that employees understand the need for that change. And that actually they need to be clear that the era of one single role per job position will not exist in the future. Every employee will need to raise to the challenge of accommodating up to 5 roles at a given time. There will be a core role that they will have and that may be maintained throughout time, but other roles that may appear and disappear depending on the company's purpose and the company's needs. And as part of the empowered ways of working that we've established in our organization, an employee may be part of multiple circles. Those circles may be established, for example, for a brand, whereas other circles may appear for the development of a given solution and then disappear, right? It was really important for us to understand what digital enabler could be put in place in order to make transparent the opportunities of these new roles emerging and give the chance of developing our employees, of fostering the self-starter and self-learning behaviors that we know are really so important. And we started experimenting together with you, Loop, in developing a tool that would enable us to make this vision I'm describing a reality. And we've been experimenting with it for the past months. It has allowed us for more talent to be developed, to make the opportunities transparent, and to better connect the customer voice into the development of our solutions in the company.
You mentioned the word circles. Can you describe a bit more what it means in this context?
For us, circles are the self-organized teams, right? The empowered teams within the organization. In the concept of a teal organization or a living organization, one could even think of the circles as a cell, as a unit within the body that ultimately operates independently but still together, linked with each other within an organization, within an organism.
Yes, so something part of something bigger.
Mm-hmm. Something part of something bigger, correct.
And one last question. What is your strategy to making sure that this culture and this mindset really spreads within the organization? There are so many things going on, and people always have a lot of activities. So how do you really, what is your recipe and what is your strategy for making sure that this really becomes a natural part or integral part of your organization?
Mm-hmm. Like I would say with any change management program, you need to start with the leadership team first, right? Have them experience this new way of working so that they understand the impact that it has and the results that it generates. Once the leadership team is on board, then it's really important to identify the change agents in the organization, engage those change agents in developing the Cascade program. And in our case, we found it really useful to set up taster sessions so that the employees experience the impact firsthand before investing time and more energy in lengthy trainings. And last but not least, I really think it's key to have the right coaching support for all the teams. It is not enough to train once. It is really key for the change to be embedded in the organization to have these coaching interventions over time, and in particular more intensely at the beginning, in order to truly embed the change in the organization.
Thank you, Itziar. It was a great pleasure to have you with us on our first Loop Leadership Series.
Yes,
and
pleasure for me too.
Thank you very much.